in your opinion, has social media ruined dating? And if so, how?
Gives people the illusion that they have a lot of options.
Ooh,
so they're
that's a good
not
answer.
really like, oh, I'm hanging out with this girl, but they're not actually, like I said, they're not actually getting to know her. She can be a really cool person, and you don't even know because you're like, oh, well, I got this other chick over here. She looks better. It just looks a
So you see,
facade.
just because they're just talking to them in like the chat, that means they have them. Is that what you mean, or they have
No,
like?
I'm just saying like distractions. It's
Okay,
easier to welcome those distractions.
that's true. Mm-hmm.
So that's just simple as it has made an effect on dating. But also, I talked to some people who don't have any social media.
Mm-hmm.
So that has always made me like, is that true? Or maybe they just use one platform, but they don't have Facebook or Twitter or like anything, just Instagram.
Okay.
So, yeah. I feel like whatever they follow or the type of pages, accounts they follow shows like a reflection of what their interests are, who they are.
Yeah.
Person. So
Yeah.
I expose a little bit.
Yeah, I learned
definitely
not the hard way, but like if he's following a bunch of like IG models and porn stars, it's like, dude, yeah. I didn't mean to.
That's gonna hurt you if you're really trying to find something serious. Yeah.
Yeah, the women are gonna look through that, guys.
Okay.
Same thing with Natalia, like just kind of looking at their followers, like you could tell like who they know as a person, like high school people, you know, that they actually have. And then there's some that you're like, okay, why are you following that? I feel like that's a big thing too. And then just like the way Natalia said too, like there's so many options, like, oh, this person's not paying attention to me, okay, I'm gonna go do this. Or even the hearting stuff. Oh, the hearting stuff is a lot too, because it's kind of just like you could see like where they're liking stuff too, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, that's why we can see
you. Social media very much exposes that person a lot. So it kind of just shows who they are.
And what are they liking that bothers you the most?
I'm not gonna like hate on girls, right? Because I love girls too, but it's kind of just like those sexual pictures that the girls put to kind of lure the guys, and it's kind of just like, okay, you look cute, but I know the intention you have behind that, you know? So that kind of bothers me in a way, because it's kind of like you're seeing girls in a lustful way, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for me.
Okay. So would you, if you were dating somebody and they were doing that, would you consider that like disrespectful?
Yes, I would.
You would? And that would be like a deal breaker for you, like, hey, what's up with this?
I mean, it would be a communication thing and kind of seeing like what they think too, because I really don't know
or how they
think if I were to say how they're going to react too.
Yeah, how they handle your reaction, if they're going to gaslight you. Oh, well, that's my cousin. Or some
It's always the cousin. It's always the cousin.
That's my cousin, or that's my friend from high school. Or like,
oh God, no.
You know,
and that's where the liar come from.
Yeah,
that's my cousin. That's funny. Again, Annalicia, anybody? Daisy?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what the girls are saying is true. Like I feel like going through their following count, I'm looking at that. I'm also too, if I have a gut instinct about someone in specific, I will, dig a little deeper. And most of the time I find exactly what I'm looking for. Like I can pick someone off TikTok and be like, that girl, and then they end up dating. Or, I look in the comments and they're flirting with the girl in the comments, or even just comments on their own personal page. Like I will look at that when I add a guy. And if it's someone that I'm considering dating, if you have 10 girls putting kissy faces under, then I'm going to, kind of make an assumption that there's you're engaging with them to some extent, unless you're a celebrity. I don't know how you're getting 10 kissy faces. So yeah, I agree with them.
I agree with that too.
Well, before we move on, you bring up a great point, because again, what I discovered going out into the dating world again was that when you meet somebody, that doesn't mean she's only talking to you. You're just one of a few guys that she's courting and dating. And I'm like, oh, this is the way the world is now. She's got a few other options. I guess I'll do the same thing. So if you're talking to a guy and you're kind of filtering out who you want to take seriously and so forth, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it goes. Everybody's talking to somebody when you first meet them. That's just the reality of the dating world. And some guys can't take that. So I was like, okay, I'm adjusting to this. But so to your point, and so you see him and he's got all these kissy faces, but you just met him and you just start talking. That shouldn't bother you, right? I mean, because again,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't necessarily cut them off, but I'm just a little more cautious of,
Okay.
how I'm moving. Cause like you said, you're most likely not going to be the only option when you first start talking. I mean, that's the whole point of dating, right? To see who you like. But I think after a while, if we've been talking for a while, I'm going to expect to see some sort of difference in
Yeah.
what you're posting. Cause I mean, even if just like a story post, I've dated some guys where they'll post a selfie and then they have the little slider to rate them. And I'm like, okay, well, you're putting the slider with the heart. I know it's like that was a little older, but the guys used to do it. I'm like, you're putting that for a reason, right? Like you want the validation from multiple of your followers to slide and put yes all the way 100. So stuff like that is going to make me a little more cautious of how I'm moving with you.
Okay. There's a slider.
Yeah, I don't know if they still have it, but you know what I'm talking about. I know that they're nodding, and they'll put like a little heart eye emoji, and then girls can go in or guys can go in and move the slider to rate them.
Yeah, it's still on there.
I've seen that with women, but not with guys.
No, I did some guys who do it, and that to me, I'm like I said, I won't cut you off cold turkey. I'm gonna, still fill it out because most of the time, like I'm probably gonna be trying to date others too, but it's definitely like a slight red flag.
Has it ruined
I don't
dating?
really have any experience with it. This kind of ties to one of many rules I have with this single mom and dating. My kid doesn't know anything about dating world, doesn't know anything about that. And so same thing with social media. As mentioned, I usually meet on dating apps. I have met out in the wild through friends, in that sense as well. But with me, I do not like to share social medias. Like, unless we've been talking for some time, then I will allow you to have access to my social media. For one, like majority of it is going to be my kid. I'm not the female that has a bunch of selfies on there. I mean, in my early 20s, yes, that was my social media. But now that's just not the case. It's my life, my kid. And kind of the same thing for the guy too. I'm really not that interested. And that was kind of the same thing with my ex-husband when I met him and being married to him. At least for me, if I'm going to be with someone, I know like they're my person. I can trust them. I don't have to worry and all of that. Like that was never a thing with my ex-husband, because if that was the case, I wouldn't have been married to him, so that's how I go into dating these days, like when it comes to social media. So I'm always curious, like, so I was very curious listening to everybody's stories, like, how am I going to be if and when that time comes? Because again, guys, it's been 5 years. I've not had a boyfriend. I mean, I've dated obviously, but have I had an actual boyfriend? No. Has it gone that far to get on someone's social media? No.
Yeah.
So
I like that. You're approaching it with an old school approach, like not social media. You kind of meet them in the wild and kind of go in there. So I like that. That's pretty cool.
Because I also don't want to expose myself too. Because aside from the child, like you get to know me on my social media. Like, the stuff that I post, it's personal. Like, not everybody has access to that.
Yeah. Do you consider it a red flag if he doesn't post pictures of you and him together on his profile?
Depends on how far along. Funny you say that.
Let's say a month or so. Let's say a month or two.
No, because I'm not posting him either.
Have you had guys insist, hey, why haven't you posted me yet? What's up with that? Or why haven't I been on your stories? Has I been
maybe the dates? Like, why don't you show that you don't have to show my face? Why don't you show that you're with someone doing something? Like you're seeing someone. You don't have to show that. You don't have to show me. You don't have to show me. You can show my foot, my hand, or something. You're just with someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
The amount of times family and friends have gotten excited thinking they see something that they don't on my stories, guys.
Yeah. Like, congratulations. Like, what? This is just a date. What are you talking about? Yeah. It's
Girlfriends right on the other side. Bestie of 10 years. Yes, guys.
And the reason I ask that is because there have been some women that have mentioned that if he doesn't at least post a picture of me or where we're at, that's a red flag, because maybe he's got other women that are watching him and he doesn't want to let the world know that he's, seeing somebody.
After a certain amount of time and time spent together, absolutely. There's a difference between like you just met someone casually, barely seeing each other. Y'all are both seeing other people. Okay, yeah, not necessarily going to share them on your story. Maybe on your story, not on your actual feed. But when you've been courting with someone, like full on hanging with all of the groups of friends, family members and like that, and months go by and nothing, you know? It's when you know there's a bunch of pictures around and pictures of y'all aren't the ones that are being posted, but other ones are with other people and friends, that's gonna start to speak volumes. That I give advice to my friends on those situations. Just, yeah, that says a lot.